Good morning. Hello to all of you who are present in the sanctuary, and even those of you that are still sitting out in the entryway. There's lots of space in here if you'd like to come in and join us, as well as those who are online. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Vero Beach, or as we call it, UUFVB. I'm Roger Ray. My pronouns are he, him, and his. And for those of you who may not be able to see me, I'm a fairly large senior citizen, although I will tell you, my friends, I've been on a hard diet for a couple of months, and I'm almost down to what my driver's license says I weigh. So I'm just about a dozen salads away from being an honest man. Whether you are young or old, gay or straight, or identify in another manner, you are welcome here as long as you wash your hands when you're leaving the restroom. Whether you're on top of the world or burdened with worries, whether you gather here with us or joining us via technology from somewhere out in cyberspace, we're just awfully glad to have you, and I don't mind telling you, you look marvelous. The mission of UUFVB is we, a caring, liberal religious community, encourage spiritual growth and seek justice for all. If you're visiting us for the first time, we warmly welcome you and invite you to join us for the coffee hour after this service. Just follow the crowd down to the fellowship hall. There's coffee and tea, but every church has got coffee and tea. We've got deviled eggs. We've got cookies and stuff. So do come. If you're a visitor, get one of the red mugs so that we know you're a visitor and give us a chance to welcome you. May I also remind you, just like they do in every high-priced New York theater, silence your phones. Now, today there will be a World Cafe at the coffee hour. We will take about an hour to determine 5 words that answer the question, why must UUFVB exist? These words will be wordsmithed into a new mission statement, so please do attend the World Cafe. Now I'd like to invite you to take a look around the sanctuary and notice who is here, both those that you know well and those that you haven't met yet, and anyone that you don't have a restraining order against. Please introduce yourself and try to get to know them better, if you would now.
the beginning of our service, we light a chalice and we say some words that hold some meaning for us. So let me light the chalice. And if you will join me, we light this chalice for the quiet truths we carry and for the futures we brave enough to write. In this circle, we honor the courage it takes to live openly, the joy and power that grow when we gather. May we trust that our becoming messy, radiant, unfolding, wholly belongs to us.
Please join us in our opening hymn, We Walk in Love. This is a newer hymn. Elise is going to play it all the way through. We have sung it once before. The music was out on one of the tables out there, but I think you'll pick it up pretty quick. We're doing verses 1 and 3. Please rise and body your spirit.
I was given this story to read. It's about potatoes, eggs, and coffee beans, which, if it was up to me, it'd be about a rabbi, a minister, and a priest walking into a bar. But this is time for all ages. So it's potatoes, eggs, and coffee beans. Once upon a time, a daughter complained to her father that her life was miserable and that she didn't know how she was going to make it. She was tired of fighting and struggling all the time. It seemed just as one problem was solved, another one came right after it. Her father, who was a chef, took her to the kitchen. He filled 3 pots with water and placed each on a high fire. And once the pots began to boil, he placed potatoes in one pot, eggs in the second pot, and ground coffee beans in the third pot. He then let them sit and boil without saying a word to his daughter, and the daughter moaned impatiently, waiting to see what the lesson would be. After 20 minutes, he turned off the burners. He took the potatoes out of the pot, placed them in a bowl. He took the eggs out and put them in a bowl, and then he ladled the coffee out and placed it in a cup. Turning to her, he asked, "What do you see?" "Potatoes, eggs, and coffee," she replied with a bit of annoyance. "Look closer," he said, and touched the potatoes. She did and noted that they were soft and fell apart at the slightest touch. Then he asked her to take an egg and break it, and after pulling off the shell, she observed that it was a hard-boiled egg. Finally, he asked her to sip the coffee. Its rich aroma brought a smile to her face. "So, Father, what does this mean?" He explained that the potatoes, the eggs, and the coffee beans had each faced the same adversity, the boiling water. However, each one reacted differently. The potato went in strong, hard, and unrelenting, but when faced with the boiling water, it It became soft and weak and fell apart. The egg was fragile, but when faced with boiling water, it became hard. However, the coffee beans were unique. After they were exposed to the boiling water, they didn't fall apart or turn hard. Instead, they had the strength to absorb the water and transform it into something wonderful. "So which one are you?" he asked his daughter. When adversity knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you a potato, an egg, or coffee beans? In life, things happen around us and things happen to us. The only thing that truly matters is your choice of how to react to it. You can crumble in fear, turn hard and refuse to change, or you can dig deep, absorb the adversity, and transform it into something new and wonderful. For the adults in the room, my own reaction to this reminds me of the work of the Jewish psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust. And one of the things he said in his book, Search for Meaning, is that people, no matter what they do to you, the last thing they cannot take away from you is your choice of how you are going to react to it. My wife knows I know a few Thai phrases, and she regularly says to me, "Jai yin yin," which means calm your heart down, especially in traffic here. But Jai yin yin. But we all have a choice to make. That doesn't mean that what's happened to you isn't wrong. It doesn't mean that you haven't been abused. It doesn't mean that you don't have a legitimate beef. But it does mean that you get to choose who you're going to be after it has happened. We now sing the children out.
As you journey, may you know, love and hope go with you, love and hope go with you. Learn and grow, learn and grow.
You're reading? I'm going down there.
This is a time in our service when we acknowledge that when we come together, we bring with us all of our own joys and our griefs, our sorrows, our needs. Before us is water, the very sustenance of life. There's a psychiatrist that I knew that said the reason there's a swimming pool in every mental hospital is that just being near water takes us back to being near the mother's womb. It's why a lot of us live here, to go sit by the ocean. The water itself is calming and reassuring and is the basis of life. Water can buoy you up, it can nourish you, it can replenish you. It's the source of life which creates beauty, but it also is the essence of making tears. This community, like water, is the sustenance of one another's lives, especially when we can remember the sacred obligation to buoy each other up in times of sadness, to nourish one another in times of want, and to cleanse one another with acts of kindness and generosity, and to replenish one another when our hearts are weary and worn. Today, with this water, we are reminded visually of our sacred obligation to everyone else here, to the greater whole. So, Reverend Tom now adds salt to the water to represent the tears that have fallen this past week. May we remember those among us who are in pain. So let us be tender with one another, for we don't know what is held in the silent sanctuary of others' hearts. For those uplifting moments when we're touched by the bounty and beauty of nature, by a hug or a smile, by an act of friendship, Tom will now add some flower petals to remind us that this hard world also has a lot of beauty in it. In a moment, if you would like to add a pebble for a joy or sorrow to our collective bowl of care, I'll invite you to come forward. But first, we know that there are some who are with us online who would like a pebble placed in the water? And if some of you here would like for Reverend Tom to place a pebble for you in the water, please raise your hand now. You're all now invited to come forward. May all that we offer to one another keep us connected and blessed within this hour as well as within the week ahead. May it be so. Amen. This is the time in our service when we express our gratitude and commitment by sharing our financial resources. To contribute to the fellowship, place your offering in the envelope found in the back of the pews in front of you, or donate directly to UUFVB by clicking on the QR code on your phone. It would be remiss if I didn't go off script for just a moment this morning to say that you all now have your pledge cards. And if I can get you to remember, I don't know if it was 6 months ago or so I delivered the stewardship sermon, but I want to share with you a story from one of Jimmy Carter's books. And, you know, Jimmy Carter was a Southern Baptist, so it's a tad anthropomorphic for we Unitarians, but he said there was just a regular old guy died and goes up to the pearly gates in St. Peter's looking through the records, and he says, you know, I don't see much here that would give me a reason to let you in. Can you think of anything that you did good? And he said, well, once I saw a guy that was disabled on the sidewalk in the cold, and he had a sign that he was hungry, and I gave him $5. St. Peter said, well, that was good. Anything else? And he said, well, once my neighbor's house burned down, and he lost everything, and I had a table I'd bought at a yard sale for $5, so I gave him that table. And St. Peter said, I'm going to have to check with the boss on this. So he goes and talks to Jesus and says, you know, this guy really not much to him, but he did do a couple of good things. He gave $5 to a hungry guy. He gave a $5 table to a neighbor that had lost all his furniture. And Jesus thought for a moment, and he said, I tell you what, give him his $10 back and tell him to go to hell. What I'm hoping to suggest is that we not allow our pledge or our offerings to be so symbolic that if there was a hell, that you would be buying your own ticket. We live in a very conservative state. In fact, when I found out there was a Unitarian church in Vero Beach when I was moving here, I was thrilled because I thought all the liberals might meet in a phone booth, and there's not any more phone booths. So this church is here to stay, but the only thing that allows us to stay is if the people who attend here donate enough to keep it going. Surely I don't have to point out the brown spots in the ceiling where the water is coming through to make you understand that this is not a wealthy mega church. We are behind on what it takes to operate, and I sure want you to make it through the pearly gates with me by increasing your pledge. But our offering today also serves another purpose, and that is the supporting of an organization that addresses the needs of the underserved in our community. That's the purpose of our Sunday Fund, one of our congregation's major social justice outreach efforts, Treasure Coast Girls Coalition. The Treasure Coast Girls Coalition educates, elevates, empowers the economically challenged girls from fragile communities between the ages of 9 and 18. They provide tutoring, mentoring, leadership retreats, technology training, and culinary arts classes. As we now receive the offering, please, let's do so generously and gratefully.
This is our time for prayer or meditation or reflection. I invite you in this moment to make space within yourself for this sacred time. May this invitation fill this holy house and embrace each precious person, moving each and all to connect with a sense of affirmation, sound, movement, or silence, in whatever way your body knows to be authentic. Spirit of life and love, our hearts are overflowing with lamentation and longing. Let us not suppress or deny it. These feelings are based on what is real and true for us. May we allow ourselves to feel the depth of our sorrows and yearning. I am going to give voice to some of the griefs and aspirations that I feel, and perhaps that many of you feel. And afterward, you're invited to give voice to some of your sorrows and longings. So I speak of the longing for a world with more hope and less despair. A world for a brave love, a growing seed within us that spreads far and wide. I speak of a longing for a future of less consumption and more compassion, a longing for a government that quells hate and violence rather than generates it. For a longing that I have for a time when everyone resists racism and all forms of systemic oppression. You are now invited to speak out loud any of your heartfelt longings or lamentations, sorrows, or grief. I invite you now into an awareness of where you feel that longing and lamentation in your body. Where in your body do you feel it? Where is it in you? In this circle of care and compassion, we faithfully bear witness to those who have shared their longings and lamentations. Each shared sorrow touches our hearts, and we accept the call to lighten the burden of our friends. Now let us celebrate our joys. Again, I will give voice to some and then invite you to do the same. I feel joy when I think of my family, my friends, the people who touch my life in a loving way. and for laughter that bubbles up within me and is shared with the world. For the beauty found in nature and art, for play and childlike wonder. Give voice to these things that bring me joy. And I invite you now to speak of those things that bring joy to you. Now I invite you to go within and find out where that joy is in your body. Where inside of you do you feel that joy? In this circle of care and compassion, we hold these shared joys with us. For each shared joy is a form of nourishment for us all. In the next few moments of silence, if there are other petitions on your heart that whisper to you, that abide in your soul, that you want to speak, please do so now. Amen. Peace be with you. Blessed be.
So good music is what brings me joy.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
Don't give up hope.
Don't give up hope.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Don't you give up.
Don't you give up.
Keep moving on.
Keep moving on. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
Lift up your eyes.
Lift up your eyes.
Don't you despair.
Don't you despair.
Look up ahead.
to a thing called somatics. Somatic awareness can be used to create a different way of engaging in social justice work and a different way of building resilience. In the politics of trauma, somatic healing, and social justice, Stacy K. Hines describes somatics as a holistic way to transform even under pressure. Somatics introduces us to an embodied life. It reminds us that we are organic, changing people. Somatic awareness invites us to attend to all sources of information, sensation, emotion, thinking, external perception. It asks us to learn to feel ourselves, others, and the environment all at the same time. We can develop our skill to feel deeply and assess what is needed internally and externally. We can then have conversations and take actions that serve what is needed based on what we and others care about. I wonder, how might this congregation embody that definition? Well, think about the meditation we just did. I started out inviting you to listen for and then say what your lamentations and longings were. And at the end, I invited you to notice where you feel that in your body, that those longings and lamentations and sorrow and grief. Where is it? Why would that be important? What do you take away from paying attention to where that is in your body? Well, perhaps you become more aware in your body of your tangible response to injustice, where you feel that inside you, where it resides. And perhaps that might teach you something. In the book, My Grandmother's Hands, Racialized Trauma and the Pathway to Mending Our Hearts and Bodies, therapist and trauma specialist Dr. Resmaa Menakem writes, "Our bodies have a form of knowledge that is different from our cognitive brains. This knowledge is typically experienced as a felt sensation of constriction or expansion, of pain or ease, of energy or numbness. Often this knowledge is stored in our bodies as wordless stories about what is safe and what is dangerous." The body is where we fear, where we hope, where we react, where we constrict or release, where we reflectively fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. If we are to upend the status quo of white body supremacy, we must begin in our bodies. And so I wonder, how have you been dealing with the multiple traumas and stress from living in this country under the present administration? How has your body been involved in your coping mechanism? How might you feel if you were to grow out of your trauma retention? How might your body help you heal and let go of this ongoing trauma that we all experience? The parable we heard earlier in our time of all ages might help us explore these somatic concepts. We are all inundated with stress, social stress, political stress, media stress. Do we cope with it, with that boiling water of stress, like the potato, becoming soft and weakened and falling apart in fear? Or do we cope like the egg, becoming hard on the outside and refusing to change? Or do we cope like the coffee bean, exposed to boiling water and deciding to go deep, absorbing the adversity and transforming it into something wonderful? Now, I don't think that any of us absolutely always are a potato or an egg or coffee beans in every situation that we face. But by paying attention to our bodies, we notice when we react like a potato or an egg or like coffee beans. The self-awareness can help us to be more conscious, more responsive, and decisive in coping with trauma, stress, or adversity. Let's go back to the concept of lament. It's a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. These are the 5 stages of grief. You've probably seen these before. How do you lament? I have to admit that I haven't done as much lamenting as probably I should have. I tend to instead complain. Complain doesn't do a lot for you, but it's certainly one way to deal with the grief of our present situation. But I have to tell you, it tends to fit in the area of denial. Maybe some of you have experienced this denial before, of the negative impact of such issues as ICE raids and increased transphobia. It's easy to push it down, ignore it, complain about it. And I've certainly heard people, particularly a certain person who sits across the breakfast table from me, express anger, ass, when trying to cope with the administration in Washington. Bargaining, I don't hear as much bargaining. But depression, oh my gosh, I hear depression from people. Maybe you have heard things like this too. Our democracy is slipping away from us. The election this fall is not going to happen. It's not safe to speak truth to power. I don't see much in the way of acceptance lately. Many people I come into contact with don't seem to have come to terms with the situation we find ourselves in. And I can't say that I blame them. So what do we do? Well, what I'm going to suggest today, maybe a little outside your comfort zone, but bear with me. I'm going to suggest we do a little really lamenting today. I mean, really, some good, old-fashioned, embodying of grief, pain, sorrow. So we're going to practice a little bit of lamenting. So what I want you to do is just get yourself comfortable in your seat. You might want to roll your buttocks around a little bit just to be sure you're in the right place. Take a deep breath and go to that part of your body where you feel lament and grief. Go in there and feel it. And then I want you to express it. Somehow moving your body, perhaps stomping, expressing it through your mouth without words. Maybe noises, growling, groaning, Let your grief and lament out, my friends. Feel it. It embodies you. It fills you. And feel it as it moves around this community. Together, we're expressing and supporting one another, safely lamenting. When you do that, what do you feel in your body? Notice from your toes to the top of your head, when you let it out, what's different? Something changed in you. You find yourself a little less mushy, a little less hard-shelled, a little less apathy, a little less desensitization, perhaps even a little calmer, soothed, a little grounded, something different inside you. I don't see a lot of Unitarian Universalists embodying lament. Generally, you use are referred to as the frozen chosen. We discuss topics intellectually or rationally, and there's nothing wrong with that approach, but I see value in not getting too much in our head about all this political chaos. I see value in letting our body guide us, help us in coping with the impact of politics and hate. I believe you are so much more likely to develop a constructive plan about what to do about all this divisiveness and all this reduction in civil rights when you listen to your body and let yourself lament it. And you can do that here. I'm sure if you growl, no one's going to think twice about you. Lamenting together connects us to our common humanity. And we realize we're not alone in feeling this. We can show our body's expression of it. And one of the things that happens when we lament is it creates more space within us to deal constructively with the world. And creates more space in this community to use our resources to oppose white supremacy culture and white Christian nationalism. And we need to do that. So I'm going to suggest there's one other thing that you might do with your body. Once you've drained some of your emotions from lamentation and grief, and there's space within you, what can you put in that space? Joy! So we're going to take a moment in just a second to fill ourselves with joy. So again, make sure you're seated okay. You got yourself ready for some joy to come in or come out. And Take a deep breath and find that space inside you where you feel joy. And let it grow and grow and fill that space inside you till it wants to come out of you. And let it out. Words, nonsensical words, noises, whatever helps you feel. Clap, stomp. A joyful noise. Woo! Filling that space within you all the way, flowing around us, filling each other. It's amazing. It's nourishing to our bodies, our hearts, our community. And I invite you to not just feel that joy during this time, but take it with you out into the world after you leave this time. You'll find yourself again less mushy and less hard, with joy in your heart. Sort of like congregational fair trade coffee. Let's turn what we find before us into something wonderful. And I found a little poem that speaks to this joy. It was written by Naomi Shihab-Nye. She's a poet. I had to change a few words to make it fit for me, but I think it'll be okay. It is difficult to know what to do with so much joy. With sadness, there's something to rub against, a wound to tend with lotion or cloth. When the world falls apart around you, you have pieces to pick up, something to hold in your hand like a ticket stub or change. But joy floats. It doesn't need you to hold it down. It doesn't need anything. Joy lands on the roof of the next house singing and just disappears when it wants to. You are joyful either way. Even the fact that you once lived in a peaceful treehouse and now live over a quarry of noise and dust cannot take away your joy. Everything has a life of its own. It too could wake up filled with possibilities. Possibilities of coffee cakes and ripe peaches and love. Even when the floor needs to be swept, even when there are soiled linens piled high, even when your records get scratched. Since there is no place large enough to contain so much joy, you shrug, you raise your hands, and it flows out of you into everything you touch. You are not responsible. You take no credit, as the night sky takes no credit for the moon, but continues to hold it up and share it, and in that way be known. We have more than enough joy for our hearts and for our community and for the world. So my friends, as you leave today, embody joy in all that you do, in all that the world offers. Be the joy the world needs now. Amen.
Please join us in our closing hymn, My Life Flows On in Endless Song, verses 1 and 2. Rise in body or spirit.
May our time together help restore you, our connections to one another restore you, our hope for the world and for the beauty and fun in the world. May all these things restore you, our deep knowing that we have to take care of ourselves and each other with love and joy if we are to soulfully survive this world's mayhem. Amen.